Feeling safe in every setting, be it at home, in public spaces, workspaces, public transport, shopping areas, or in theaters, it's every human being's basic right. There should be no compromises on that. But yet, every single day, many people, especially women, have to deal with this constant fear of getting harassed on the streets, a practice that we call street harassment or catcall. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Dr. Najman Riaz. I'm a practicing psychiatrist in state of New Jersey. I love to empower women in the workforce, and I also raise awareness of our emotional and mental well-being through social media. The reason I made this video for you guys is to give all of those victims a voice who get catcalled or harassed on the streets every single day. Unfortunately, there are not many strict rules in most of the parts of the world. A lot of times, these perpetrators who are running free on the streets do not face any sort of consequence. Therefore, this behavior is ongoing. Women do not report out of shame, embarrassment, fear. Therefore, this practice is ongoing. At the end of this video, below this video, I've put a link to a Google document. We're trying to collect data from all over the world, from all of those people who have become victims of this practice. We want to raise awareness. We also want to create local advocacy groups through your support. That's why if you can take a few minutes to fill that questionnaire and help us highlight the magnitude of this problem so that there could be stricter rules in your areas about this ill practice. Street harassment is so common in every corner of the world and unfortunately is considered as a norm, a casual act, and even confused with a mere act of showing one's liking for another person, especially that for a female gender, or it's even confused as a flirtatious behavior. Unfortunately, in many fields like that of showbiz and movies and songs, it's glorified. At least that's what I've witnessed growing up. In India, watching these Bollywood movies, street harassment or catcalling was encouraged, glorified, and even considered a method of inviting an opposite gender for a serious relationship. So what constitutes street harassment? Here are some acts which are reflective of street harassment. When an uninvited stranger comes to you, and that can be of any sex, any gender, but usually it's a male, who approaches you and makes these unwanted comments, gestures, requests, and demands with an intention to harass you, show his or her power on you, make condescending remarks at you while you're walking on the street, waiting for a bus, in the subway, or traveling in a public transport, or even while you're shopping or eating in a restaurant. Just going around doing your business, making comments on your physical appearance, your body, or the clothing that you're wearing. Continuing to talk to you after you have insisted to be left alone. Flashing lights at you, following or stalking you, groping, intentionally invading your personal space or blocking your way. Persistent request that you disclose your name, number, or any other personal information. Publicly masturbating or touching their private parts. So making sexist, racist, homophobic, transphobic slurs or any comments which insults and demeans the very aspect of your identity. Showing you pornographic material without your consent. Taking pictures of you without your consent. Forcing you to smile, whistling, and making inappropriate facial gestures towards you. So why should we raise awareness of this ill practice? First of all, for generations, many of us have been made to believe that this is something that all women will have to deal in their lives at some point or the other, and that we should just ignore it or just consider it as a routine behavior that is expected in places like malls, streets, or public transport. However, the truth of the matter is that catcalling or street harassment is a form of sexual harassment. Like other forms of sexual harassment and assault, street harassment is also about power and intimidation. It leads to sexual objectification of human beings. When objectification occurs, people are reduced to just their body parts. Some catcalling catcallers will try to justify their behavior by saying that, well, you asked for it, she asked for it, because she was wearing provocative clothing. But these arguments involve the exercise of control and power of the perpetrator. And this victim-blaming attitude only allows the abuser to perpetrate sexual harassment. A woman's wardrobe is in no way an excuse for sexual harassment. After all, there are countless women who get catcalled, whether they're wearing shorts, dresses, saris, or even in many Islamic nations, like in Afghanistan, where women wear a burqa, which is this long robe where not even their eyes are seen. Women still get harassed for just being women. So clearly it has nothing to do with the way you dress up or the way you wear your clothing. And no woman or man of any gender, regardless of what they wear or how they look, deserve any unwanted attention or be harassed in public. To be clear, street harassment is not a playful banter or flirting. It's ironic that many of us were told, or in many cultures to this day and age, some people say that, it's just a harmless compliment. Ignore it. They all do it. Surprisingly, a lot of people who catcall victims will say this to justify their own behaviors. But this unsolicited sexual attention is and should be unacceptable, and no person should have to feel uncomfortable or unsafe when they are on the street. Flirting assumes equality between the two parties, so street harassment or catcall is not flirting. Catcall involves control and a conscious effort to show one's power over the victim. And most importantly, catcalling does not only damage a victim's psyche, it also impinges on their rights. After all, it makes a person feel unsafe in the public. There was a study done in the University of Melbourne in Australia that demonstrated that women are likely to experience it at least once every 2 days. Objectification of any gender, male, female, trans, can leave lasting and damaging effects on victims' psychological well-being. Research has proven that it can lead to body shaming, anxiety, depression, and even self-silencing in social interactions. Once we raise awareness of this problem, stricter laws against this practice will be passed. In many countries, street harassment is not even a reportable offense, so women do not even report it. Many, as I said, are scared, and many feel embarrassed, and many do not even know that this is harassment. That's why it's so important to raise awareness, as well as to advocate for stricter laws in your communities. So what can we do if we become a victim to street harassment? Please go to www.streetharassment.org to find more helpful information about what you can do and many other good tips on how you can respond if you ever become a victim of this ill practice. But briefly, I just want to share that, first of all, it's important to remember that if you experience street harassment, it's not your fault. Please remember, street harassment is never a compliment, and it's never okay. Remember, you have every right to feel safe in public spaces. Street harassment is about power and intimidation, and there is often a reasonable fear of further violence. So it's very important to trust your gut in these situations. Though, you're in no way responsible for the actions of those harassing you, it may be, however, useful to learn about strategies that can help you feel safer. So make your safety a priority. If you're being followed on the street or feel that your physical safety is in jeopardy, then going into a local business, store, or a coffee shop, or an apartment building lobby, somewhere, where the harasser may be discouraged from following you, or where you can get help from, like a local security guard, or you can even call your local law enforcement agencies or the police. If street harassment occurs outside of a business or on a public transportation, you can report the behavior, like, for example, to the driver, like a bus driver or a train driver or the owner of that business. Or, as I said, you can just call your local police. Some forms of street harassment, such as groping, flashing of lights, and following, are legally recognized, and you can report them to law enforcement. So do what you think is best for you. The best thing to do if you're being harassed is whatever will make you feel most safe and most comfortable. you're in no way obligated to respond to a harasser or to report them. Though reporting can be empowering, but it also can be exhausting and potentially unsafe. So trust your judgment and do what's right for you. Now, if you are a bystander and you witnessed street harassment, there are a few ways that you can potentially help if you feel safe enough to do so. If you're not sure whether a situation is harassment or not, then please assume that it is and ask the person being harassed that if they need help, are you okay? And you can share with them that, do you think you're being followed? Is someone bothering you? And do not blame the victim. Never say, oh, you should not have laughed, or why do you wear such clothing? Please don't say that. You can call out a harasser, but again, ensure that you are safe as well. Tell them that whatever they did is not right, that it's not okay, and just say, stop harassing people. You can also report that you witnessed harassment to a public transportation official, law enforcement, or even a harasser's employer. You can also help to end this street harassment and increase awareness around the issue. Please share your experiences. If you feel comfortable doing so, then talk with people in your life about street harassment whenever it occurs. This can not only let others know that they are not alone in these experiences, but can also help to raise awareness of the frequency of street harassment and its harmful effects among those who haven't experienced it yet. Create local support groups in your schools or in your locality, in the library, and share your experiences. I know it may not change much, but feeling that you're not alone can just ease your pain a little bit. And yes, you can advocate together and reach out to your local authorities or local law enforcement agencies to implement stricter laws against this street harassment. You can also create a petition and send it to your local mayor or whoever is the political official. Call out to your friends if you witness that they're harassing someone else. Tell them that whistling or making sexual comments repeatedly or asking for the victim's information is not good. Just share with them, educate them that this is wrong and that they need to stop it. As I said below this video, we have put some emergency hotline numbers that you can utilize, and you can also send us any similar agencies or hotline numbers in your area, in your country where you live, for others in your communities to utilize. So please take a few minutes to fill this Google Doc or this questionnaire so that your voice can be heard and you can advocate for yourself and the people around you. Please stay safe and take good care of yourself.